how to find the perfect house in Farmers Branch. That is what we are doing today. That is our mission for today. So the way that we do this particular series of finding that perfect house is pretty simple. So at the beginning, we give you some things to consider when you're looking for your home, so your next home. In this particular case, we're talking about Farmers Branch. So there's three key questions that you must ask yourself in order to make your job a lot easier when you're looking to buy. The second part of our live stream today in our show is going to be looking at the real estate in Farmers Branch. So we're going to look at the type of real estate that's available in Farmers Branch right now, and we're going to actually do a deep dive on a particular home that we're going to model out and pretend to purchase in our last part of our conversation today. So in the last part of our live stream, I'm going to give you 3 different ways to actually purchase the property. I'm going to go through the numbers and share with you how much it would actually cost to buy the particular home that we decide to look at and analyze together. So again, first, consider the things to consider when you're buying in Farmers Branch. The second part is looking at the real estate in Farmers Branch. And the third is we're going to go through a kind of like a simulation of actually purchasing property in Farmers Branch. So with that being said, let's dive in. We're going to start off on the online portals, just like most of us do whenever we're going to find a home for purchase. So whenever we go and try to buy a house, we go straight to the online portals. In this particular case, we're going to go to my website, JaimeResendiz.exprerealty.com, which gives us direct access to the MLS. All right, so Farmers Branch right now has 109 properties available for sale with the average price point of $514,000. Now, this includes everything. This includes condos, residential leases, commercial, land, and everything in between. So what we're going to do is we're going to only focus on single-family residents, and we're going to hit search. Now, if you're new to Farmers Branch, let's zoom out and see where Farmers Branch is. So what you're going to notice that Farmers Branch is quite centrally located. You're going to have easy access to major highways that are going to take you wherever it is that you want to go. If you need to go to Fort Worth as an example, you can hop on George Bush right here, 161, and hit 183 and get to Fort Worth pretty easily. If you're trying to get to Dallas, well, you can go either the Dallas North Tollway or hit 35 and get to Dallas quite easily as well. Now, if you need to get to Denton, hit up 35 East and head up north, and you're there. So there's a lot of different benefits to living in Farmers Branch, which actually brings us to point number 1, the first consideration when you're looking to buy in any place, especially here in Farmers Branch, which is the first question that you want to ask yourself is, what do I want my commute to be? So essentially, question number one has to do with the commute. What type of commute do you need? Or if you're comfortable with commuting, if you're comfortable being in the car, well, for you might be okay living a little bit further away from work. Now, if you're somebody that does not need a commute for work and are working from the house, then for you, the commute isn't as important. So, but on the flip side, if commute is a very important thing for you, if you cannot stand being in your car, well, that's going to be an issue. So really, a lot of the areas, a lot of cities that you look at purchasing in, it's going to revolve around how close it is to your place of work. So question number 1, what type of commute do you want to have? Question number 2 is, what type of community do you want? Are you the type of person that wants to go to a different restaurant every single night? Do you enjoy being in the outdoors? So does that mean you need some rec space? Are you the type of person that needs a huge entertainment scene? Are you a big fan of lakes? Are you prioritizing your school district? What type of community are you looking to have? So that's a big component of where you're going to ultimately end up going into. So number 1, what type of commute do you need? Number 2, what type of a community are you looking to live in? And then the third one is, what's the cost? What's the budget? How much can you afford, right? So it has to do with affordability. So the 3 C's: commute, community, and cost. Those are the 3 considerations. Now, when it comes to the cost, let's look at that for Farmers Branch specifically. There's 45 properties that are single family residences available for sale right now. The least expensive home in Farmers Branch is $264,000. Now, if you have a budget of up to $300,000, meaning if you have a pre-qualification letter in hand right now, and that says you can purchase up to $300,000, you might not find the home that you're looking for in the city of Farmers Branch. Because as you can see, you have 3 homes that fit that criteria. So that might not be the play. Now let's continue looking down the road here. We have in the 300,000 range, we have a few more homes, a considerable amount more homes, but here you're looking about, what's that, 10 more homes. Now again, here once again, if you have up to, at this point, up to $400,000 in your pre-approval, you're going to have more options, but you're still going to have what I would see as limited options, especially here in Farmers Branch. The bulk of the activity, the bulk of your opportunity with homes available for sale is going to be in the $400,000 to $600,000 range. So if you have up to $600,000 as your budget, you're going to be able to purchase in just about anywhere, any part in Farmers Branch quite comfortably. So this gives you an idea of the type of real estate available at the prices available. And we're going to hop on over to the final page real quick, because again, there's 45 homes available for sale right now. And we're going to look at what the luxury space looks like in Farmers Branch. The most expensive home for sale right now is a waterfront property at $1.5 million. Now we're going to spend maybe 12 seconds here just looking and seeing what type of luxury real estate or what type of home, what this home looks like that is commanding $1.5 million, which for what I'm seeing, it feels a little bit on the high end, but maybe there's something I'm missing. Probably more property than a fourth of an acre, $1.5 million. There's something I'm missing here. It's a beautiful property, but I'm not sure if it's a $1.5 million property. But I mean, it is very nice, very nice. Now let me know in the comment section, would you pay $1.5 million for this? Cool looking home. I mean, it looks like a brand new build. It might be a brand new build. Is this a brand new build? What year is this? Yep, 2024. Cool, brand new build. Awesome. All right, so let's go back for a quick second. So again, a big part of our conversation today is going to be about going over and reviewing a property along with the numbers that come along with the property. So what we're going to do is we're going to find a property that is reasonably priced in the area that we're looking to buy. In this particular case, Farmers Branch. So I like the way that this looks. Just really cool photography. So we're going to end up going with this one. So we're going to do our numbers based off of this particular property. Now again, in this segment, in this part of our conversation, we're going to do a deep dive on the property itself. We're going to look at it from as if we were looking to purchase it. So we're going to look at the pictures. We're going to look at the description and also the property details, the attributes, and see if this is a property that we want to run the numbers on. Very similar to what you do in your particular home buying journey, where you look at properties, you look at the home and see, hey, is this one that we want to consider going and looking at? Is this one that we want to consider and actually purchase? That's the type of consideration that we have with this particular breakdown. So right now we're looking at $558,000, 5 beds, 3 full baths, 2,600 square feet. We're looking at a let's see, 6 days on the market. Okay, pretty standard 1970 property, which is right for the area that we're talking about, which is Farmers Branch. All right, so I see a park over here, and I know exactly where this house is. I guess I recognize it. Cool. All right. So one of the things as we go into the images, two quick things that I want to share. One, Sometimes I'm going to call out some very small things, what might seem pretty minor. The reason that I call those out is because the minor things say a lot about the larger things. So as an example, if we notice that the landscaping just really isn't being taken care of, while it may seem like a minor issue, like a minor thing, well, that kind of gives us some context clues as to how the bigger ticket items were taken care of or not taken care of. So if, as an example, like the HVAC unit, the foundation, the roof, the water heater, these major expenses. Well, if we're not taking care of what we deem to be the minor things, chances are that the major things weren't taken care of either. And the second thing, and the reason I go into such a level of detail in certain whenever we're looking at property, is because when you go and see a property firsthand, you're not going to spend more than 30 to 45 minutes in that property before you make the decision to submit an offer. So in a matter of 30 minutes, you can find yourself making a $585,000 decision, which that's why you need a real estate professional to help and look at different aspects of the property, because your chances are you're not buying property every single day. Right? So that's why, again, you need a real estate professional that can help you, not just any real estate professional, one that has experience that can help you in making these decisions, especially since you have such a finite amount of time to make your decision, especially in a real estate market that's pretty heated. All right, so with that being said, what I'm seeing and noticing right now is, again, we're just going to pick out quite as many things as possible to comment on, just to give you a different perspective. So the first thing I like to look at is the gutter situation. So gutters can get a little bit pricey, and I can see that there's some gutters already in place over here and appears to be on the side of the house. So we have right around here at the entrance, which is good, around the side of the house, so it's going to help with foundation issues, so you're in a good spot. Landscaping has been taken care of, and the landscaping or the hardscaping here is not all that complicated. It's pretty simple, so it's not a lot of maintenance to be done. I do see that this is, remember, this is a 1970s build. I do see a newer Goodman over here, so that's a good sign, or it could be a train unit. It's either one of those. I'm gonna go with, it might be a train unit here. I see a new fence back there, and as mentioned at the beginning, I do see a park over there, so that might be a consideration if you want to be that close to a park or not. As far as the property, it looks very well taken care of. It looks like there's been some significant updates to this particular property. I do see some new windows in place. I do see, well, maybe not a bit of, maybe not paint. This is, I don't know how long this paint has been there, but it's certainly not the same color that it originally was built with. So you have some siding, which I don't know the age of it, but it does look like it's got some room to run. And yeah, there's a good amount of updates that have been made on this particular property right out of the gate. So you have a new, this is not a new door, but it is a new, new layout. So as you come into the property, you're going to notice, where's the entrance? I guess we are in the entrance. So no, is it? Okay. New flooring. Looks like everything has been painted. Very open layouts. There's some walls that were for sure removed here, because a 1970s build would not be this open. I can guarantee you that. Brand new kitchen, so I can't wait to see the kitchen. So huge space. Actually, I just toured a property like this. This is in Mansfield yesterday, because I'm looking to buy personal property myself. So it was a very similar design to this. They took a lot of walls out and really opened it up. So this looks like is this the front of the house or is this the back of the house? Looks like the back of the house, and I didn't even notice that this was a 2-story property. So check out this completely updated kitchen. You have farmhouse sink. This looks to be gas. No, that's electric. You have electric. You don't have gas. You have the backsplash over here. Everything is up completely brand new. Great new lighting. Ooh, I like that. So you have the booth style. I'm a fan of booth style. I think it saves so much space. It's very efficient. It looks like somebody's office, a major office here. You have the primary bedroom, which that's unique. I haven't seen one of these. You have the barn house doors here for your kitchen, bathroom. Oh, and even in your shower. Okay. This is a complete remodel. And it looks nice. A lot of very nice touches to this. You have some tile flooring that looks brand new. That is brand new. Your entire kitchen, I keep saying kitchen, what's the deal? Your entire bathroom, all the bathrooms have been updated as well, not just your primary bath. Brand new fence, so you have a privacy fence. So it goes back to, note over there, you have that park, right? So that means that's going to be more people that are going to show up. Also, it's going to be more noise depending on the time of day as well. So it's something to consider. Now you have a full privacy fence here. It's an 8-foot fence, so you're going to have plenty of privacy for the as much activity as you're going to see outside of those gates. Cool property. I mean, I like it a lot. It's a corner lot, plenty of area. Let's see what we can do with it. So we have let's look at the details, and before we actually go into the breakdown of the property and get some numbers to this particular home. Price below market value for a quick sell. I don't know about that. If you're looking for an ample move-in ready space in a picturesque neighborhood filled with trees and greenery, this gorgeous home has you covered, featuring 5 spacious bedrooms, 3 updated bathrooms, and a large open floor plan. Downstairs, you'll find the primary bedroom with walk-in closet and ensuite bath, along with 3 additional rooms and 2 additional bathrooms. Upstairs, you'll find an added bonus room, perfect for an office, 5th bedroom, movie or game room. The kitchen is bright and open, featuring quartz countertops. I should have called that out. They are quartz countertops, a farm sink, and a Darling Boutique breakfast nook. Banquet. I am struggling with words today. The backyard features a newly poured concrete patio and 8-foot red cedar privacy fence, so we did at least get that right. Right next door is Kerr Park, where you'll find a playground and tennis court. Other updates include PVC plumbing 2022, electric heater and duct insulation 2023, attic insulation. So you have a lot of energy efficient components here that you didn't have to spend money on, which is huge. This is fantastic. So functionally, this home is relatively new. This is not gonna, of course, this does not look, and it's not gonna feel, and it's actually not even gonna function as a 1970s property. This is functionally, this has been brought right to life, right to current standards, almost brand new build style. All right, so let's look at some details before we break open some numbers, just to make sure that we want to buy this property. So again, it's 585. It's in Dallas. County is Dallas. Farmers Branch is the city that we're looking at today. 1970s build. Property taxes, don't get married to this number. Property taxes are going to be different when you buy this property. So it's going to take the exemptions that you may or may not have access to, along with the assessed value that is going to be the case whenever you purchase it. So don't get married to this number, because this number will change. This has more to do with the homeowner and the assessed value that they currently have. So don't just look at this and see it, but don't really internalize it, because we're going to do the calculation firsthand for us. All right, so the asking price, we know it's $585,000, 5 bedrooms, 3 full bath, 2647 square feet, a fourth of an acre, so a larger lot. Makes sense because you're on a corner lot. All right, so let's see, anything abnormal here. So 2-car garage, that's fine. 1.5. Let's see, I didn't even notice that there was a half back there. I didn't notice that there was a stairs or second floor. All right, so I don't believe there's going to be an HOA given the place. Yeah, it's right next to Kerr, so yeah, there's not going to be an HOA. In Farmers Branch, you're going to be in a good spot. Most of the area in Farmers Branch is not going to have an HOA, so you're going to be in a good spot. Cool. All right, so let's do some math. Let's do some numbers to this property. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our Loan Clarity Advisor tool. This is linked down below. Now, if you can't find this tool linked down below, then just go to winthehouseyoulove.com and get it from there. This is the same tool that we use here internally to do all the breakdowns with our clients. So you're going to be using the exact same tools that we're using. For our purposes today, for our scenario, we need to look at 3 distinct numbers before we start building the case on the type of loan that we're going to get. So number 1, we're going to look at the HOA. Our HOA is going to be, well, let me adjust this real quick. So let's pretend that we're going to put a full offer together. Our HOA is not going to factor in because we don't have an HOA here. Our homeowner's insurance, we are going to have a home insurance. So to get the premium, to get a realistic premium estimate, what we do is look at just a simple number. We're looking at, we multiply the value of the home times 0.75%. That's just a quick and dirty way for you to estimate what the home, the premium on your home is going to be. So again, 0.75%, that's what we use as the quick and dirty math. So we're going to put 0.0075 because that's what 0.75% is, converted into a decimal. So we're going to put 0.0075 times the value of the home, which is $585,000, which gives us a yearly premium for insurance of about $43.87. Now this is maybe not super conservative, but this is conservative. There's this gives you a realistic expectation of how much you're going to be paying in homeowners insurance. So we're going to divide that by 12 to get us the monthly number. We're going to be paying roughly $365 in homeowners insurance. A lot of things are going to be factored in here when it comes to ultimately the rate that you're going to get, but this is a good ballpark number. And what's going to factor into how much you end up paying for your monthly insurance is going to be the age of the home, how many claims the home has had, how many claims you've made, the area of the home where it happens to be. The underwriters, the people that essentially establish how much it's going to cost you to in terms of premium. They put a lot into their a lot of numbers into their equation. So just know that the monthly insurance is going to vary depending on the property. All right, so property taxes. Let's talk about property taxes for a quick second. Property taxes are something that can get away from us if we don't know where to look. Property taxes are really I would say there's not enough information on property taxes out there. Our channel does, I would say, a really good job of sharing as much as possible on property taxes, but even then that's not enough. So with property taxes, here's a few things to understand. Number 1, when you buy a property, you're paying property taxes. Sounds obvious, but it's not. So you're paying property taxes. In the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, the range in property tax rates, so the percentage of property taxes is going to range from about 1.8% to about 3%, depending on the city that you're in. We're going to go into Farmers Branch and we're going to find the exact property rate so we can have a realistic expectation of what that rate's going to be for us. So again, in Dallas-Fort Worth, you're looking at about 1.8 to about 3% in property tax rates. The third thing to understand about property taxes here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex is that there's up to 5 numbers that we need to find for us to get a true property tax rate for Farmers Branch. And that's for pretty much every city in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. There's up to 5 numbers that we need to look at. Number 1, we need to look at the city tax rate. That's the first number that we need to find. The second number we need to find is the county tax rate. The third number is going to be the ISD tax rate, meaning your school district tax rate. Those 3 numbers we have to find regardless of the city that we're moving into. Now, there's 2 additional numbers that sometimes present themselves, but it doesn't always end up happening that way. So the other 2 numbers that often present themselves are the higher education tax, so think of like community college, and then the hospital network tax. So if you're in Dallas as an example, then Parkland would be the hospital network tax that you would be paying. Now, again, this doesn't show up in every single city, but it's good for you to know that those could potentially show up so you can calculate your property taxes accordingly. So with that being said, we're going to go and find that right now. We're going to go and see property tax. Let's do Farmers Branch, Texas, property tax rate. All right. So we're going to go straight to their website. And we're going to click on it. And this one has all five numbers that we just talked about. So it has the city. So City of Farmers Branch has its own tax rate. The county, which is in Dallas County. The ISD. So those are the three that you're going to find in every single city in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. The other two that I was alluding to that you might find are going to be the higher education. So DCC is Dallas County Community Colleges, I believe. I think that's what DCC stands for. And then you also have Parkland Hospital. So again, since you're in Dallas, it's going to be Parkland Hospital, the hospital network. So what you're going to do is you're going to add up all these amounts and get your property tax rate that we're going to now use to estimate our property taxes. So what we're going to do is we're going to take out our calculator once again, and we're going to go just straight down the line. We're going to put 0.9836 plus 0.2195 plus 0.215718 plus 0.110028 plus 0.569. That gives us a property tax rate of 2.097. So we're going to say 2.1. So our property tax rate for the City of Farmers Branch is 2.1%. So with this in mind, what we're going to do now to estimate what our property taxes are going to be, we're going to give ourselves a conservative number to work from. So we don't have really a ton of surprises whenever we're actually going through and buying this property. So the monthly property taxes that we're going to estimate are going to be on the higher end, and I'll share why here once we do the calculation. So we know it's 2.1% for property taxes in Farmers Branch. So what I'm going to do is going to go with 0.021 to convert it into a decimal, because now we need to multiply that times $585,000, which is the asking price, the market value of this home. And that gives us a property tax bill of about $12,000, a little bit over $12,000. I'm going to divide that by 12 to get the monthly, and then I'm going to put it right here. So in property taxes, we're roughly looking at a little bit over $1,000. Now, again, I overestimated here, and I'll tell you why. We multiplied the true property tax rate, so that number is real. Like that number is, take that to that is a real number. The property tax rate that we just found of 2.1%. But we multiply that times a number that's inflated, the market value. The market value, assuming that this home sells for $585,000, well, that's what the market deemed the value of the home to be because somebody paid for it. So the market value is $585,000. The reason that this number that I'm sharing with you today of a little bit over $1,000 is inflated is because you're actually not paying property taxes on the market value of the home. You're paying property taxes on the assessed value of the home, which is oftentimes lower. There's several reasons for that. So the assessed value of the home is actually a percentage of the true market value. So right out of the gate, you know that the assessed value is going to be lower. Oftentimes, you're also going to notice that you can apply a homestead exemption or various other types of exemptions, which is going to lower your assessed value of the home. The assessed value is, again, what you pay property taxes on. So you can apply a homestead exemption. If you're over 65, you can apply an over 65 exemption on it. You can, if you're on disability, you can also reduce your property tax liabilities. If you protest your property taxes, that's also something else. If you apply your homestead exemption, once again, there's a cap to how much the home can actually rise in assessed value, meaning you are capping the amount that you pay in property taxes every single year. So there's different ways to get this number, the assessed value, to be lower. Now it's going to be not going to go down to zero, but it is going to go down in this particular property. I would guesstimate that the assessed value on this home probably is right around since they just recently updated so much, this home is probably assessed at in the 500s, if not less than $500,000. So you're paying property taxes on this amount. All that to say is I'm giving you a conservative number today so you don't run into surprises. And I'm also sharing this conservative number today because as the home continues to appreciate and the market value continues to rise, well, the assessed value will also come with it. So then eventually you'll be actually paying this property tax bill, right? I know I said a lot. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment down below, but I just want to give you as much context as possible because property taxes, again, they're not covered enough. There's just not enough information out there. So anytime we get an opportunity to share some property tax info, I take it. Now let's talk about the loan option. So how are you going to finance this purchase? Because up until now, we've been looking at the numbers that have to do with more of this property in where it happens to be, which is Farmers Branch. Let's look at the ways to finance this purchase. So I'm going to give us 3 different ways to finance the purchase of this home. We're going to do conventional 5% down. We're going to do FHA 5% down. And we're going to come back to the table and going to go with conventional once again, but we're going to put 20% down. All right. So let's talk about loan products real quick so then we can really speed through the rest of this. When you buy a home, oftentimes you're not going to buy it in cash. Oftentimes you're going to seek out a loan. When you seek out a loan and you buy a property, it's essentially a mortgage. That's what loan and mortgage, think of them in this context, real estate context, synonymously. There are different types of loans that you have access to. You have conventional loans, FHA loans, portfolio loans, VA loans, USDA. There's different types of loan products available for you. Oftentimes, most lenders are going to give you 2 types of loans because they're the 2 most common, which is conventional or an FHA option. With a conventional down payment, you have with the conventional loan, the minimum down payment that you would need to get into this particular loan would be 3% down. That's the minimum down payment. With the FHA loan, your minimum down payment there's going to be 3.5%. So there's minimums to each one of those products. Right now, we're not going to cover the rest of the loan products, but I just want to give you the 2 most common ones. So conventional minimum is 3% down. FHA minimum is 3.5% down. Let's continue. The reason that I put a conventional 20% option here is because something magical happens once you put at least 20% down. So 20% and above, you get the benefit of not paying what's called mortgage insurance, which means that if you put less than 20% down, you're paying what's called mortgage insurance, which mortgage insurance is an insurance that the lender puts on you in the event that you default. So not only does a lender get their property back if you, unfortunately, like if you default, but they also are minimizing their cost and expenses and risk by putting this additional insurance on you, this mortgage insurance on you, so they can get made whole, or to the best of their abilities get made whole. Now, unfortunately, you're paying for this mortgage insurance, so there's an additional premium that you're paying every single month for this mortgage insurance that you're paying, given that you didn't put 20% down. One more distinction, and then we can keep going. If you get a conventional loan, you're going to be paying that mortgage insurance, but if you get a conventional loan, eventually, once you own over 20% of your home, as you're making payments throughout the years, you eventually get rid of that mortgage insurance. And I'll tell you at what point you actually get rid of it here in a couple of minutes. With an FHA loan, however, this same mortgage insurance that you're paying because you didn't put 20% down on the purchase of this property, that same mortgage insurance is going to be on your property, or you're going to be paying that mortgage insurance every single month until you pay off that loan. With an FHA loan, that mortgage insurance does not go away. Right? So those are big distinctions that we need to be aware of as we go through and make the rest of the calculations. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put conventional 5%, FHA 5%, and we're going to do the 20% down conventional. The loan term is going to be the same for all 3 loans. The interest rate, although it is going to change with each type of loan, conventional 5, FHA 5, and if you put more down, it's also going to change your interest rate. For our purposes today, just to get some numbers out there and make it as simple as possible, we're actually going to use the same interest rate that is available on the market right now. So what we're going to do is, what is the interest rate right now to buy a house? We're going to go to a bank rate and just get the average. The average right now for a 30-year fixed rate is 6.36. So we're going to come back here and we're going to put 6.36, 6.36, 6.36. Now again, this number will change depending on the loan that you're getting. So whenever you get your quote back from your lender, make sure that you look and appropriately adjust this as you're making your calculations. Let's continue. Points means that points is you buying down the interest rate that you get. So as an example, once you submit all of your paperwork into your lender and they say, hey, we can approve you for this amount at this interest rate of 6.36%, we have the option of paying points, but you have the option of essentially buying down that interest rate. For you to buy 1 point in this particular example, you would need to pay 1% of the 1% of the loan amount. So if you borrowed $550,000 of this purchase price as an example, that would mean you're paying $5,500 for 1 point. Now, simply because you buy 1 point does not mean that you lowered your interest rate by 1 whole percentage point. I wish that was the case, but that's not a thing. By you buying 1 point, you're buying a portion of the interest rate, a portion of a percentage. The math that I do, it's not exact math, but the math that I do is about one fourth of a percentage point. So here, I would say that if I buy 1 point, I'm probably going to drop this down to about 11%, give or take. So I have the option of buying more points and driving this down further down. But at some point, it just becomes so expensive that it's not worth buying down a ton of points. But anyway, that's what points mean. So if you're going to plan to buy any of the points throughout the loans, make sure that you update that information. Same thing with lender fees. Lender fees are going to vary across the board. Allied First Bank is going to have their fees. Wells Fargo is going to have theirs. Mid-America Mortgage, Cross Country Mortgage, Rocket Mortgage, my goodness. Rocket Mortgage, all of them are going to have different fees. So just when you're getting your quotes back, make sure that you update the fees here. So give yourself about 1 to 2% in lender fees to have a conservative number out there to see how much it actually is going to cost you to get into this loan, right? Monthly mortgage insurance. So we already talked about that mortgage insurance being a thing. So it's about $277 a month. And we're going to be applying that to the conventional loan and the FHA loan since we didn't put 20% down in option 1 and option 2. If you're going to make extra payments, you can select how much you're going to be paying per month additional. And also, if you want to do a lump sum, you can budget that in as well. Now, what I want to show you right out of the gate is the cost of the loan. So this is a really good visual of what it looks like, but let's look at the numbers real quick. If we were to do a conventional 20% down on the purchase of this Farmers Branch home of $585,000, in the first 10 years, we would have paid about $277,000 in interest. That's how much it would have cost us. Now, in those same 10 years, if we would have financed ourselves with a 5% FHA, it would have cost us $370,000. That's factoring in how much we paid in interest, how much we paid in mortgage insurance. Remember, we didn't put 20% down, so we're paying something additional. And since this is an FHA loan, we're paying 1.725% additional for financing this mortgage. This is an FHA loan. You're not going to have that with the conventional. So with FHA, you do tend to see more fees, just as a heads up. But as a reminder, your interest rate is going to be different than your conventional. Excuse me, I'm just getting over a cold and it's just not going away. Now with your conventional, again, within those same 10 years, you would have paid $360,000. So here graphically, you see after 10 years, which loan would have benefited you the most and by how much, based off of all the interest that you paid and all the fees that you paid into it. So it's a very easy way for you to compare apples to apples. Now, of course, you're still going to need to add in the lender fees and also any points that you purchase. But here again, it's so easy. All you have to do is just input the numbers and it does the calculation for you. All right, so let's talk about the monthly payments. So let's talk about year one. In year one, what is your monthly payment going to be? Conventional 20%, you have your monthly payment's going to be roughly $4,300. That is what the payment's going to look like. Now, if you get an FHA 5% down, your monthly payment's going to be $5,141. If you get conventional 5%, it's going to be $5,128. Now, how is this broken down? Well, notice how all of the amounts, how such little or how small of an amount goes into your principal at the beginning of your loan. So again, this is year one. This is a type of a payment that you can expect, and how much goes into the interest. You're paying a ton more into the interest than the principal. So that's why at the beginning of your loan, it's going to feel like you're gaining equity just at a snail's pace. It's just going to feel very, very slow, because it is, given the fact that you're paying way more into the interest than you are into the principal. Now with taxes, we calculated these taxes. These are conservative numbers, as we already talked about extensively in property taxes, but you're paying property taxes regardless per month. Homeowners insurance, here again, is also a conservative number, but your premium is going to depend on the age of the home, condition of the home, location of the home, the limits and coverages that you're wanting, different other things. And then here, since you didn't put 20% down in this loan, you're paying mortgage insurance. Same thing with FHA. Now, again, this is year one. In year, let's call it 10, it's going to look different. Here, as an example, you no longer have monthly mortgage insurance, because with this conventional, at this point, you have over 20% owner equity in your home. So you own over 20% of your home, right? So those are just some distinctions to be made. But let's talk about equity at this point, right? So at any point, you can see how much equity you have in the home. So you can quickly calculate, all right, so in year 21, as an example, if I buy this Farmers Branch home, how much of the home do I actually own? How much equity do I have? Well, here, based off of this number, you see that in year 21, so about 66% of the way there of your 30-year note, you own, under this conventional 5% down, you own 51% of the home, FHA 51% of the home, and conventional, you're about to hit 60% ownership. Now you may be thinking, well, Jaime, 21 years, that's 66% of the way there. How do I own only half of the property? Well, the reason being is, as something we talked about earlier, the bulk of your payments at the beginning of the loan go towards the interest. You're not paying as much into the principal. It's not until year 19 or so, it's not until the year 19 that you start paying more into the principal than into the actual interest. There's that inflection point. So in the last 9 years of your loan, that's when you really buy or get a 50% equity of your home at that point. Because at that point, you're paying more into the principal than the actual interest. That's why it looks so lopsided. So look at the loan details real quick. The only thing I want to share here is that when your mortgage insurance falls off on a conventional 5% down, on paper, as you're making payments, you are going to get rid of that mortgage insurance in about 10 years and 2 months. As the home appreciates, and if it appreciates a little bit faster, you can actually get rid of that mortgage insurance faster, in 9 years, 8 years, 7 years, depends on how fast your home appreciates. Speaking of appreciation, let's talk about your selling strategy. Your selling strategy is so important. So what I like to do with our clients as we do our breakdowns is, well, let's talk about your exit strategy. In 10 years, which on average, you're going to be in your home for about 10 years before you seek out another home. In 10 years, let's assume you want to sell this property that you bought in Farmers Branch for $585,000, which is the simulation that we're doing right now. Well, let's assume that to be the case. How much is it going to be worth? How much are you going to make? How much are you not going to make? Let's look at it. Well, if we assume that the home appreciates at 3% down, which is very reasonable, and we assume that in 10 years we're going to sell this house and it's going to cost us 7% to sell it, factoring in realtor commissions, title work, maybe a bit of updating or some repairs, it's going to cost us 7% to sell. And also we're going to factor in that property taxes are going to continue to rise, because that's most likely going to happen as the home continues to appreciate. So we're going to say that every year the property taxes is going to increase by 3%, and that our homeowner's insurance is also going to increase by 3%. So we're trying to give some conservative numbers out there, give you realistic expectations, and not just really put the thumb on the scale to just try to manipulate some results. These are real potential results, very reasonable results, but you can make this adjustment yourself. Again, this is linked down below, or you can just go to winthehouseyoulove.com and go to the tools there and download this. You can have the exact same tool that we use here internally. So after 10 years, so again, we're talking about our exit strategy. After 10 years, this home has appreciated by $200,000. It would have cost us $55,000 to sell because of that 7% that we put. Our loan cost, depending on how we financed, is going to be different. So you see the different prices here: $360 for 5% down, $370 for FHA 5%, and then $277 for conventional 20% down. So that's going to be, depending on how you financed it, how much it cost you. Property taxes is going to be the same regardless of the loan that you're in, and also the homeowner's insurance is also going to be the same regardless of the loan that you got. So in 10 years, your housing cost under this conventional 5% down would have been $405,000. With an FHA, it would have cost you those same 10 years $415,000, and on the conventional, it would have cost you $321,000. Right? So you see the different numbers. So here, this is a positive number because you earned equity. Essentially, your home was valued more by the end of the 10 years, but then you have to subtract how much it actually cost you to get into that home, the cost of the loan, and everything in between. Now, this is a debate that's going to happen forever and for always, so we try to really show the other side of the equation, which is the rental part. For comparison, if you were to rent this same type of house in this same type of area, it would cost you roughly $3,400 a month. And we also do have to factor in some increase in rent because that happens every single year. So there, let's just assume an annual increase of about 3% per year. So your same housing cost would have been about $469,000 in comparison to you owning, right? So here you get to compare as close as possible of apples to apples. So if you want to make your rental a little bit more favorable, then slide this scale here. Let's just say your home never goes up in rent, which is not going to happen, by the way. Then you can make that calculation after 10 years. But if you again, if you want to be a realist here, and then or maybe even a pessimist, and see how much of an increase per year you can factor in to give you just more of a realistic scenario, you can do that here as well. But this is the best way that we have found to compare what happens if you buy in a certain amount of time, also, and compare that to what happens if you rent for a certain amount of time, and compare them head to head to see what ultimately makes sense for you. Now, I'm not the type of person to tell you that, hey, rent always and never buy, or buy and never rent. Everybody's situation is different. Everybody's goals are different. So it's something that you're going to need to answer for yourself, because there's no one size fits all here. With that being said, hopefully this provided some value. If you're looking in the farmers area, if you're looking to buy or sell, please feel free to reach out to us. If you're looking beyond the farmers branch borders, we would love to support you there as well. We have a very big presence here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. So if you're looking to buy or sell, please feel free to reach out to us. Our contact information is down below. And also feel free to schedule a discovery call with us so we can go through your specific situation, so we can break down the numbers and see what would make sense for you. Outside of that, hope to see you on the next video. Thanks so much. Bye.